Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're here this morning. Got a big show lined up, a special guest that's come down to be with us. But first, let's take a look at our weather. Brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning, Drew Pollard, and a hard-working crew taking care of our everyday comfort needs. And fairly comfortable today. On the cool side, high of 62, low of 45, but this is a seasonal cool, and I don't know about you, but I like it. Water temperature at the end of the pier, again, right at 65 degrees. So it'll be moving down a little bit probably next week or two, a degree or two. But anyway, let's take a look at our river readings brought to us by Panama City Coca-Cola. Good folks down there. We're looking at, it's about our last day of neap tides, really. Apalachicola Bluntstown at 6.4, the Choctaw at Caryville 5.6, and I was talking about tides, but the last day of the river. I won't get down to tides now, brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. The last day of neap tides, low of 9:30 this morning, high of 6:40. Saturday we have pretty good tides coming in. The afternoon tide, I looked at it, it's going to be pretty strong. If we get this weather on out of here, it'll be a good time to go. So the river's going to be high, and the tides are neap today. So the weekend's going to be getting better. Our wind direction will be coming south-southeast at about 5. Not too bad today, but we do have some weather coming in pretty soon, tomorrow and maybe Saturday. So be aware of it. Okay, let's take a break. Come right back with our special guest. Welcome back, and look who came down this morning to be on Panhandle Outdoors. Our buddy, our country cousin, Billy Grantham.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Welcome back.
Good to be here.
We talk a lot, text a lot often, even when it's not on, so we pretty well stay in pretty good contact, so I sort of know what's going on, but I'd like to get them down here face to face and to tell your stories and also share some things with us. What's going on up in Jackson County and surrounding area?
It's hunting season. Man, everybody's slobbering at the mouth, and geared up for it. Finally got the rain so people could put out food plots. And if you could get stuff to put out, it sold out. Everybody clamored for it.
That shows the rush. Everybody saw the rain coming.
Yeah, exactly. Spot on, yep.
Yep. So,
and of course, fortunately, I had a little bit out already, and they were wearing the corn out. I finally got a hog. I'll show a picture a little bit. Out of nowhere, I had a hog show up in my food plot.
How do you figure that? So you see that with a buck sometime. You have your camera up for a long time, all of a sudden this buck shows up.
I got that, yeah. And it's exciting with cameras now because they're so beneficial because you're able to see, if you didn't before have a camera, you'd see a buck and you'd probably go ahead and take him because he's a little small 8-point or 7-point or something. Now you're saying, I'm going to be selective because I've seen him, but I've seen something even bigger and better, like the World's Fair, and that you'll wait for that, let that one grow off and get that bigger one.
So people have been out in the woods over there and getting everything ready.
Oh, yeah. The management area has been wide open. They had killed, as of muzzleloading Monday, I think it was, 54 deer in the management. 54. And that was buck, primarily does and a few bucks. No great big bucks, but all that will change because this is the right before the rut begins. They're just now starting to bust up out of those buck groups, bachelor groups as they call them, and they're starting now to scrape and paw, and it's an exciting time.
I know everybody's been talking about it, getting a lot of pictures and all. So, and like I say, that winter rye and everything, it's so oats. Green, and the oats are coming up.
And they stay in it too. You'd be shocked. They've eat it down in a few places of mine.
Everybody's got their hunt blind ready and tree stands ready.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to talk about safety. We don't talk about it enough here. Be safe on those tree stands. If you have those climbing stands, be careful on them.
It's been about 3 years ago in the management, Appalachia I'm talking about, a gentleman, his climber had come out from under him and his seat, and he luckily had a harness on, fortunately. And with the cell phone, he was able to call his kin They come running in there to go check on him. Had to run back out and get a ladder to go in there and get him down because luckily he had a harness on to protect himself.
True story.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I wasn't there that day, but Charlie was.
You got to be careful and all.
Yeah.
I guess everybody's got their rifle sighted in and their guns and everything.
When I showed my wife some pictures off my camera several weeks back, she said, I'm hunting this year. So we went and got her hunting license.
Okay.
I got her out there and let her practice with that 270 and that 30-30. And she's spot on. She shot better than I did, I think.
Our lady outdoorsmen, they have a tendency to do things better than we because basically they just have more patience than we do. They take their time and listen.
I had to clean out the box house and get all the Coke cans out of there and what have you, and get it cleaned up so she could set up there, wasp nest or something like that, you know.
That's a good point. You know, the wasp nest, they'll flat out build wasp nest in there.
They will.
And you got to stay on top of that. I get tickled every year because I know where they're going to be every year. I just go in there and knock them down.
There's 2 times a year that you have the best opportunity to harvesting a deer, and that's right before the opening of the season, and then the rut, and it's coming on right here at us. Winston, East Jackson County, Northeast Jackson County, I believe, has probably the highest population of deer in the state.
Wow.
I believe that. You can't turn out on River Road right at the caution light in Sneeds and go to Highway 2, particularly right at dark or right after dark. You had best drive very slowly and carefully.
Really?
They will, just a week we heard of a gentleman being killed on a motorcycle by a deer. And you can't drive around there.
You see it all the time, don't you?
All the
time. At night,
all the time, everywhere. I put a brush guard on my truck 2 years ago because shortly before that, I hit a doe on my way to work at the check station at 4:30 in the morning. And I see deer all the time. I did, just all the time that time. That time, she just went the wrong way, tore up my truck. But
another tough area too, between East Point and Two Lodge, Highway 65 goes right through the Apalachicola National Forest, and I can guarantee you're going to see deer all the time down there because it's just not in population. So that's the same way in Northeast Jackson County.
But you know, I can drive from Sneeds to East Bay and not see a deer at all on 71.
Really?
Or drive from my house down 167 and not see a deer. I've done it all the time. But you get over there at Sneeds and go north, man, let me tell you what, one of them 190-pound bucks will tear up your car now.
Yeah, it's different roads. It's funny you said that because you're exactly right. I know Highway 20, as you get into Highway 20, getting close toward Bluntstown and 231, that gets tough this time of year. 231, not much problem. And Highway 20, getting closer to Freeport over there, has some deer coming in close to that area there, that preserve. So just, be careful.
Be careful. Be careful. Tell your youngins that driving.
And young people, they're
slow down.
You're right. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Here with Billy Grantham, and I'd like to do one day maybe a show of the 2-minute break, of all the 2-minute breaks we have, and we'll get to talk about all the cool things. But we just keep talking. What we were talking about, staying warm, this time of year, whether fishing in a boat, when it's cold, up in a tree stand, we were talking about how the clothing has changed. So you were talking about a story.
Hey, when I was a boy back in the 60s, the only way to get warm if you was going squirrel hunting was 2 pairs of dungarees, and 2 pairs of socks and a heavier jacket with 2 or 3 shirts on. How many of y'all done that?
A bunch.
Might freeze to death out there. But now the apparel has changed so much. My wife, I've been wearing them old white cotton Walmart thermal underwear for years. My wife bought me some stuff a couple years ago. I swear by that stuff now. Man, it just works fantastic.
And the big thing was keeping your feet and hands warm, the extremities. And I know talking about back in those days, my brother and I would lay our stuff out before the next morning.
Yeah, exactly.
And we couldn't wear 2 pair of thick socks because our shoes wouldn't fit. So we finally learned to put a pair of thin socks on and then put thick over that insulation. We thought we were so smart. But you don't do that now because the socks are so...
Well, the boots are different, the socks are different, and you can buy them hand warmers and things that go on the insoles that go in your boots.
It's a lot different. Okay, let's go from hunting to fishing. What's going on in the fishing world up there?
Well, Lake Seminole, the hybrids and stripers are still biting. If you can get the bait, if you can't, you try something else. It's like Captain Roy says, when's a good time to go fishing? When she'll let you go. So you just go, and it may not have a good day or not, then you learn something though if you go. But on the river, it was a little bit better, much better back in August and September. But the hybrids are pretty good, and specks are catching specks some too.
Okay.
And that's from the horse's mouth,
Okay, so...
But I ain't gonna show no pictures.
Yeah, you can't show pictures. People get upset when it shows the pictures.
Yeah.
Well, just trust me, he's catching them. What, anybody still doing any jug fishing for catfish? You see any of that?
Not jug fishing in Florida, you can't jug fish in Florida.
But on the Georgia side? On
the Georgia side you can, but I don't go on the Georgia side to fish. I mean, I do if I'm checking the hybrid spots. I go off over there some and try them, but I don't see much of that. They might do further up the channel or something, maybe because the grass is real bad. I don't know. But
the fishing guides up there, the bass fishing guides, what are they doing this time of year? Are they still going trips, or they just were slacking?
Yeah, they're doing some. Yeah, but the demand is not so much this time of year because it's cold. You got to be a sportsman or a sportswoman. You got to love it. To get up in the morning in the cold like it is and run across that lake out there and at 38 degrees and to get to a spot and get your bait and catch your fish and watch that sunrise come up.
Same way about running down that Pascola River at daybreak. And I mean, just fly, and the people I go with, they think they're at Daytona 500 because they put a hammer down and they just, but now you just had even put on a motorcycle helmet and say, well.
Yeah, maybe so. Face things to go over your face, wool or something, toboggans. And I got a bunch of caps out there in the East Bay that's blowed off my head for years.
You can build a reef with your cap.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it blowed off and I just like, go on. It was give to me or something, but
it is a good time to fish up these feeder creeks though, as the water cools and all the speckled trout. I know you've done that, and I've had some good reports of it, but we're not there yet. We're getting this close to it.
All right, boy. You can't beat them redfish catching them, boy.
Oh, that's fun.
Those hybrids or stripers are tremendous, but hybrids are a lot of fun, but they don't fight over and over and over again like a redfish does. They don't. Whew, gosh.
I mentioned about flounder. I'm going to talk tomorrow on the fishing forecast about some flounder being caught on live bait. So we'll tune in tomorrow and be sure to talk about that. But the fish will bite. They got to eat in the wintertime. Yeah. They're just not that aggressive.
Right. And the fish aren't like humans. They don't eat every day. But when the mood hits them and things come by them, like you said, slow retrieve sometime, slow it down and ease it along. But hybrids and stripers are different. That water temperature has so much to do with it. Back in August when it was so hot was terrible, and the water level down, and what it was now, it's got a little infusion of water in there, and the water temperature is cooler, and they like it like that.
We talk about that water temperature. I do it all the time here, but it is critical. It is. We're talking about how electronics have advanced so much. I mean, you can know what the water temperature is over there, and it changes. And you see as you're moving your boat around, if you get sometimes right in the borderline in between, is always a good time too.
It's like my game cameras now. It gives you the time, the date, the temperature, the barometric pressure, anything that you can look at that and say, and compare it to something else and see what movement is. But you know what? I learned, Winston's the best thing to gauge them. Got yellow corn.
That's true. I was talking about the temperature. I get fascinated at times. Here I'm sitting in my living room and I get a picture come in, and it might be. Boy, the other day it was like 40 something at the house, and I looked up in the woods. It was 32 degrees. It's so much colder back in the woods, because, than it is. At home and all. I get a kick out of noticing in the cold weather about the temperature difference right there.
And I can see them on the news talk about what the temperature is going to be here in Panama City, but I know it's going to be about 4 or 5 degrees different up there where I'm at, and it will. Beautiful frost on the ground, covered. It looked like snow.
Isn't that beautiful?
I had an inmate run out there to me one time when I was working at the prison when they opened the yard to go to work. He run out there, he was from Miami. He's, oh, boss man, it's beautiful frost. I mean, heavy frost. Man. It snowed last night. Last night. No, son, it didn't snow. That's frost you got right there. A big, heavy frost.
All right, let's take a final break. We'll be right back with Billy. Okay, welcome back. Sitting here with Billy Grantham. Always love hearing what's going on up in that neck of the woods. Before we go there, let's go to the other end. Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe brings us the fishing game times every morning. We're looking at first time is this morning 6:19 to 8:19, and about 12 hours later 6:39 to 8:39 tonight. Okay, Billy, we got all kind of other cool stuff to talk about.
Winston, I watch your show all the time, every day with a cup of coffee and a Pop-Tart. But hiking, you talked about getting out hiking.
Yeah.
That's my grandson, Lawson.
Okay.
Baxley. And
Okay.
his dad and mom had went off hiking up into the mountains of Georgia.
I love it.
Yeah, and there he was on the log.
It's starting them at a young age. I love that. We're talking about hiking all the time. It's just a fun. Look at there.
Look at there what you can discover when you're out there on the trail. Look at the big old leaf. Now, what you would, as an adult, would think little of it, but for a child like that, that's a big deal.
That's another world to them.
I've done some hiking when the river was down.
Oh.
That's the Apalachicola River.
No way.
That's a lime rock bottom that's exposed right there that I walked along the edge of on a rocky.
Is this up on the upper end of it? Or?
Right below the boat ramp in Chattahoochee.
Wow.
Guess what else? Springs boiling out of there.
How about that?
Right there in the river, boils out of there and runs out into the river. There's about more than a dozen of them from different sizes that did that right there.
Oh, man.
Yep.
That's what it's all about right there, folks. That's what starts our rivers.
Getting them youngins out there early in the season and early in their life and helping out in the woods. My grandson Cooper Grantham with his dad Matthew putting up a game camera. There he is checking it out, getting it all punched in. And all. Yeah.
Look, Dad.
Yeah, he's a fine feller. Look here, showed up in my food plot the other day, eating up corn, a hog.
Big and ugly.
Now, what I've seen happen before is when those litter gets too big, they go to getting size on them. Those boar hogs will fight and run, take dominance, and you've seen that in nature, and run one off. And this is one that got run off and run out of the pack.
So he came back to get some food.
Yep.
Okay.
And now, what in the world was they looking at? That's a game camera, folks. Wasn't that a great picture? Game camera.
Something has their attention.
Showed it. Might have been an old hog. I didn't pay attention to that. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Boy, with the does is piles of them.
Wow.
Look at there. Another day.
A herd. You have a herd up there.
A bunch of does. That's just another pack. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's pretty.
My wife decided she wanted to shoot. I let her shoot. And
No way.
Look at there.
She hit right there?
That's where she hit. Whoa. Miss America. Yes, sir.
Man.
Boy, howdy.
Goodness gracious.
She's going to hunt a little bit with me. That's another game camera. If you ain't got one, get one.
Look at that.
That thing sends me the picture on my phone, and I can just admire it and get all excited. Picture. Oh, they're fun. There she is, sitting in the box house. We hunt up.
She's going to shoot your buck. That's what's going to happen. That's okay.
All I had was some does come out. We wasn't going to shoot a doe.
Yeah.
Look at there. Dove hunting.
Oh, I love it.
Cooper and Dad, Matthew, in the dove field. He ain't but just about a year old. Got that stuff for his head to protect his head. Yep.
Smart.
Look at there. Winston, that is a croc.
Yeah.
Sunbathing on the bank of the Apalachicola River.
You don't see crocs.
You don't see crocs very often, but there is one right there.
That's funny. That's funny.
Frost across my place out there. Beautiful frost. Yeah, I love it.
Nature at its finest.
Man, I love it. I love it.
Yep.
And this old boy was from Jacksonville. Called me every now and then. I used to see him when he come to the check station. And got this buck up in the edge of Georgia up there. Look at that thing. Huh?
Nice buck.
He always has great success. He told me I couldn't tell much about him. They protect him about that stuff.
That's good.
But he had some great success, and we gave him permission. And that's all she wrote.
And we've got about a minute or two left. And you brought, what is this? What you bring right here?
Well, I brought that to show and tell. My pa-in-law died at 96 and was raised in Lafayette County, which is Lafayette County for some folks. That's a branding iron. Jim Lawson.
Okay.
Jim Lawson. See, it's in reverse.
Okay.
So when you brand with it, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
But it's forged. You can't see it very well, but it's been forged. But he got it from his grandfather. Probably well over 120 years old,
kidding.
I guarantee you. But I got it on my mantle.
What a family treasure. And you know, they probably came down through that Georgia, Central Florida area, the Cracker Trail and all, the original settlers. And that's what they had to do, because you had free ranging cattle. So you had to brand yours.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
How cool is that?
I found that thing in the barn digging in there for him for something. And I pulled that thing out. He said, "I haven't lost that thing, but now you found it."
How about
He had misplaced it, and he was thrilled to get it back, and they let me have it before he died.
And he made it himself?
No, his grandfather had it forged.
Homemade.
Yeah, exactly. Boy, howdy.
Back in, that's cool. You can picture the animal and all.
Worth a fortune to me.
I know it. I know it. Well, about to wrap it up. Any closing comments real quick? Or
don't go in there looking around in the woods. Go put your corn out, get back, get out. Don't wander around out there looking. Those who sit, get.
Good point. I'm so glad you brought that. That is so cool. Billy, I always appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we stay in contact a lot, so looking forward to hearing from you next week or two.
I got some deer sausage will be coming on real soon.
Ooh, sounds good. Y'all do something good today for your fellow man. You have a great day. Enjoy the outdoors. Take care of it, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.